Hello, everybody. How you doing? We're here today to talk a little bit about something kind of off of Making a Murder, a little, I guess, but in a way, kind of tying in. But we'll get to that. So, this past Friday on Dateline, they had a very interesting story. It was called "The Mystery of the Pink Gun," and it was, the story was interesting. The crime, the boldness of the eventual perpetrator that was caught, is pretty wild, I'll say. But having said that, there's something about the district attorney in this case that I think warrants comment. It warrants somebody to point it out and say, you know what, good job, excellent job. Because so many DAs would not have done what this DA did. So, I guess what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I'll tell you a bit about the story right now. I will, however, leave the link to the Dateline episode down below. If it doesn't work for people in outside the United States, let me know. We'll see if it's on YouTube somewhere or something. We'll try and find another link for it, maybe that works. But if you can't get that to work, I will also leave the article. The Dateline article, which is, just like a magazine article or a newspaper article, basically. So I'll leave a link to that as well down below. So what we got is we have this gentleman named Jeremy Spielbauer. And Jeremy Spielbauer got married to this young lady named Robin Bledsoe. They got married. They were whatever, but then all of a sudden they kind of were not so happy. Then Jeremy meets this other girl, this other lady, whose name was Katie Phipps. They get married. He divorces Robin and marries Katie. So now he's got kids by his first wife. And he marries Katie. They have kids. She already had a couple kids, and he's suddenly not happy there. Him and Katie are fighting. He's calling Robin a lot. Then suddenly, one night, well, at least one day, somebody finds Robin lying limp next to her car out on this road called Mystery Road. It's kind of a dirt road. It's kind of off the beaten path. And so they found her laying next to it, and it turned out she had a gunshot wound to the head, and she'd also been hit hard on the head with something heavy. It appeared. So she was dead, unfortunately, and it became a murder investigation. They questioned Jeremy Spielbauer, and even though they caught him in a couple of lies, they didn't really go after him. They went after his wife, Katie, his current wife, Katie, because the gun used in the crime, the ballistics matched the pink gun that was in Jeremy and Katie's gun collection, and the pink gun was Katie's. So they pick up Katie for this, and they're pursuing the case against Katie and all this stuff. Well, because her cell phone was pinging off of a tower that was close enough that if she was at the murder scene, she would have been pinging off the same tower. But she claimed she was at her friend's house, and at that friend's house, she would have been pinging off of the very same tower. So basically, at her friend's house, she would be pinging off of the very same tower as if she was at the murder scene. And they had no way to tell whether or not she was at the friend's house or at the murder scene. So what ended up happening is after about 460 days, something like that, over a year, the DA had the cell phone companies check her son's cell phone, because it turned out he had the Wi-Fi on. So it took several months, but he eventually got the data back, and what it showed is that the son's Wi-Fi was connecting to places next to and leaving a footprint next over by her friend's house, which means that's where she actually was, and she wasn't out on Mystery Road. This is where the DA is a class act, okay? He could have probably plowed forward with his case because of the pink gun, and it all would have, he probably, you know, I mean, honestly, the gun and everything, he probably could have sold it to the jury. They'd have probably, you know, went for it or whatever. He could have, after all the work he had put into it, I mean, his pride could have easily gotten in the way on this. His pride could have very easily gotten in the way. And his name, by the way, is Mr. James Farren. And I just gotta say, my hat's off to him, because instead of doing the thing that so many would do and just plow forward anyway, figuring, you know what, I got the pink gun, this is a cinch, you know, the jury's gonna see the pink gun, it's gonna be her, you know, I'll just, you know, whatever, I'll just ignore this cell phone evidence that came in for her son. He could have done that, but he didn't. As soon as he saw that evidence, he released her. He started his investigation back over from scratch, going after Jeremy Spielbauer. They got him. They convicted him. And he is in prison for it. So, I just, it's an amazing kind of story, guys. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and leave the link, like I said, down below, if you guys want to watch it. I mean, it was just, it's kind of an emotional roller coaster. And the thing is that for a long time, after Katie, you know, the second wife, got released, when the DA ordered her to be released, for a long time she walked around town and people still treated her as if she was the guilty party. People still said ugly things to her and did all this stuff that was just, you know, they thought she was a killer, but it turns out she wasn't. So it took a long time, but finally when the guilty verdict came in for Jeremy, she finally got, you know, kind of vindicated or whatever. So interesting story. But like I said, can't say enough about Mr. James Farren, the DA in this case, because like I said, he could have easily plowed forward and just said, you know what, I got the pink gun, got her, you know what, her cell phone pinged close enough. I mean, he could have easily just plowed forward and made it work instead of starting back over from scratch. But he actually did his job as a district attorney and as a prosecutor, and he actually enforced the law. He actually saw and chose to go after the right person. He didn't just shoehorn the wrong person into this conviction. I just gotta say it deserves mention, because to me it was completely remarkable when I was watching this show, and I just now think so highly of this guy for actually doing what he did and doing the right thing, that I just felt it had to be said. So so that's about it. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. We'll see ya.